In 6th grade, I was diagnosed with a common but sometimes deadly disease. I've been battling it for 20 years. Science still hasn't come up with a cure for it. That's what makes me so interested in what happens inside my brain. Some of you may have heard of the condition. Some of you may know someone with it, and some of you may have it, you just don't know it yet. I've been diagnosed with a disease called entrepreneuritis. Entrepreneuritis. Now, if you're concerned that you might have the disease, you need to look for 3 main symptoms. 1, chronic ideation. 2, insomnia. And 3, frequent unemployment. But that's not the worst part. The worst part is the stress and the anxiety and everything that comes along with being an entrepreneur. Now, I've done a lot of drugs, tried a lot of drugs to solve it, okay? And none of them seem to work. None of them. Except for one thing I've found, and that's nature. Somehow when I step into nature, I just feel a sense of calmness. Now, I was on one particular hike that I actually came up with a groundbreaking discovery, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. I was there in the wilderness, surrounded by 100-year-old trees, waterfalls, wildlife. You just feel it. And there's a lot of other people there, so I'm kind of normal, and I decide to walk around and enjoy everything that I'm doing. That is, until I get to a spot where no one else can see me, and then I get ready for my power walk. Now, you might have your own type of power walk. I don't know if you. It might be yoga, might be something else. But everybody has some sort of a power walk that just gets the energy out. And all of a sudden, I hear a noise. Something in the woods. You know that noise that you hear that stops you in your tracks? Must be a bird, I tell myself. I get back to power walking. But this time, my heart's beating a lot faster. I'm a lot sweatier than normal. I feel a little lightheaded, and my legs feel stronger. And then another noise closer to me. This time, it sounded like a grrr. That was not a bird. Oh, is that a... It's a bear! Oh my God! Bear, bear, bear! Ranger, ranger, danger! Bear, bear! Help, help! Bear! You should have seen it. It was like, oh! It was this huge, hairy, scary... might have been I think it was a brown bear. Maybe it was a black bear. Actually, I don't even know if it was a bear. But that's not what matters. What matters is that I felt like I was getting chased by a bear. Look at me. Now, I want you to think of a situation or a moment when you feel stressed or you felt frightened like you've been chased by a bear. You literally probably felt like I do right now. We all have bears that chase us. Oftentimes they're imaginary. But imaginary bears are real. And that's a real problem because it creates real stress. But I'm really lucky that I have a disease called entrepreneuritis. Because I have come up with a solution. It's an app. It is called the How to Not Get Chased by a Bear app. It's like a barometer of sorts. And believe it or not, it's based on science. But for the record, I am not a scientist. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a psychiatrist. I am an innovation junkie. And I've dedicated the last 3 years of my life at the University of California, Irvine, to help other young entrepreneurs who are dealing with this same debilitating disease. And there's one thing that I've noticed. Over 800 that I've worked with, and they all share one thing in common with me. They get chased by bears. Well, we're going to fix that. But back to the science. I'm going to give you a basic bio breakdown of your own brain. Here we go. Imagine that there's only 2 parts. One that deals with stress, and one that deals with rejuvenation. Now, the one side that deals with stress, you might know it as the fight or flight response. It's your body's automatic way of responding to threats and predators. It's essentially your body's way of not dying by way of a bear attack. A series of emotions trigger and stress hormones fill your body, and you get ready for fight or for flight. On the other side, it's a peaceful relaxation, rejuvenation, detoxification, It's essentially the way that your body does not die by way of disease or sickness. But the only thing I want you to remember about the two is that there's a little teeter-totter in your brain, actually in your whole body. And these things are opposite in function and complementary in action. That means that you're constantly swinging between stress and relaxation. Now, this fight or flight is great if you're in the forest actually getting chased by a bear. But if you're behind your desk on your computer getting stressed out over an email, it's not so good. She knows. Now, evolution hasn't set us up to live our life in the fight or flight. In fact, those chases between predator and prey only last 3 minutes or less. Why? Because after 3 minutes, you're out of breath and you're alive, or you're dead. Now, I'm not saying that there's a bunch of rogue bears roaming around town trying to go and eat a bunch of innocent victims. But what I am saying is that humans react to things that are not life-threatening like they're life-threatening. For example, emails. You find yourself with your fists clenched because you can't answer 764 emails that you got in one day. And then you get 3 missed calls and 2 voicemails from your mom already this morning, makes your palms sweaty. I'm pretty sure she's trying to find out how my talk's going. Hi, Mom, it's going good. Now, when I drove out here all the way from Orange County, it's a long drive. I'm relaxed, I'm in my Prius hanging out. I put my blinker on, I'm gonna turn. No, this big rig comes and almost runs me off the road. It's crazy. I'm like, ah! Life has full of stress. Or you can find yourself talking in front of hundreds of people that you've never met before, and that can be kind of scary. But I'm here today to tell you that these things are not life-threatening. Now, research shows that we react in our brain to social threats just like we do to physical threats. Now, out of the state of Louisiana State University, James Honeycutt, he has proven that as humans, we can create stress from memory, from thought, and from imagination, even if there's actually no physical threat chasing us. It's called imagined interactions. There's a lot of research being done on stress right now, and there's a lot of talks. Bear with me for a moment. I'm going to talk about a TED Talk in a TED Talk. I call it TEDception. Dr. Kelly McGonigal has a talk with almost 11 million views. It is called How Stress Can Be Your Friend. Now, I want to make it clear that we have different viewpoints. She's a scientist of over 20 years, has all kinds of proven studies that show the way that we perceive stress is directly relational to how it affects our body. If we see stress as stress, it's stress. It damages us. If we see stress as something that's helpful, it works for us. What she's essentially saying is this big bear's coming and chasing after you. Instead of running, you should try to dance with him. That is where I draw the line. My theory, I literally think that if you can identify that it's a bear, and then identify that it's an invisible bear, you don't have to run, and you don't have to dance with it. Now, some of you may be thinking that this is pretty silly. Here's a guy talking about imaginary bears and applications. Well, it's scary that if you don't release the energy in your body that's triggered by fight or flight, it actually works internal. And it works against you, against your tissues and your cells and your organs. When you're lying on a gurney in a hospital and you overhear a doctor say that you're being rushed to the emergency room because you just had a heart attack yesterday because of the 40 years of imagined bears that you've been running from, it's not so silly anymore. Now, in the United States, every 34 seconds, somebody has a heart attack. That's 20 since the time that I started talking. Who wants to take a guess at what day of the week is most likely for you to have a heart attack? Come on. Monday. Research shows that this is attributed to work stress. I have a secret for you. There are bears at your work. Now, let's get to my application so that you can solve it. How to not get chased by a bear app. going to blow your mind. This technology of a barometer actually measures pressure of bears that are chasing you. And the awesome thing is, you already have the technology. You just don't know it. In fact, you were born with it. Now, you're not going to find this on the App Store for Apple. You're not going to find this on the Google Play Store. It's because I developed it on an old school Palm Pilot technology. That's right. It's either your left hand or your right hand. You are equipped with barometers. The nice thing is it takes no batteries, doesn't need a Wi-Fi connection, takes a little imagination, but it's connected to one of the most powerful things in the world, your brain, and your brain already knows what stresses you out. Let's see it in action. If you're stressed out over emails and you find that your fists are clenched, open up the app, boop, check it out, realize that emails are not bears. If your palms are sweaty because your mom keeps calling you and leaving you voicemails, you don't know what she's talking about. Wipe the app off, check it, boop, realize your mom is not a bear. If you find yourself driving or some other situation and your hand ends up on your forehead just like this, take the app off of your forehead, check it out, boop, realize the guy who ran you off the road's a jerk, but he's not a bear. And if you find yourself nervous on stage with your hands in your pockets and knees shaking, take the app out of your pocket and realize, boop, that the audience is not a bear. Now, life is full of stressors, but they don't all have to be bears. But you will get chased by imaginary bears. And here's what you do. One of two things. Number one, power walk it off. Or whatever your power walk is, exert that energy so it doesn't work negatively in turn. Ali. Number two, realize that you all have barometers. When you find your body in stressful situations, take out the app, open it up, and realize it's not life-threatening. You see, we all live extreme lives. We talk about extreme situations. You don't have to have extreme stress. It creates extreme opportunities if you can find the bears that are chasing you. An opportunity to deal with your own mental stressors. An opportunity to get more done during the day. An opportunity to build better relationships. And an opportunity to have a happier and healthier life. So when you feel like your teeter-totter is a little bit out of whack, get to the forest, get to nature, get to somewhere. Take a deep breath. And then if you hear a noise, I know, right? Check your barometer. Boop. That's a bird, not a bear. Then take a deep breath and get back to your power walk. Thank you. Watch out for bears.
Thank you.